Long time no see, guys. What's up? It's Zito Sports Nation. We're back with another bracketology for you guys. We're going to talk about the bracketology as of Sunday. So there's going to be a little bit of changes. We've already made one change in it. It had Eastern Washington in the tournament. They're gone. We added Montana State in. They're the second seed right now in the Big Sky Conference. So we'll see. But this is going to be exciting, guys. This is our last week of doing some fake bracketologies before we get to the real bracket. We can start talking about the real thing.
I know. I'm so excited. Yeah, I really am because the bracketologies are fun, but we are just 6 days away now from Selection Sunday. We're gonna have a real bracket, but yeah, let's get into it.
Let's get into it, guys. It's going to be exciting. There's a lot to talk about with it as teams start to compete. And one team that's not on this list at all that I'm really kind of annoyed that's not is UNLV.
Oh yeah,
Yeah. If you watch our Mountain West preview video, guys, you'll see how high we are on UNLV right now.
We're expecting maybe a little run.
Maybe a little run out of them. But in all seriousness, our last four buys right now, Zach, we see Rutgers now sitting as the last buy in general.
Yeah, it's crazy to see him. And this is a team that has 6 quadrant 1 wins. And you look at them 3 weeks ago, you would not have expected them to take this type of tumble all the way down to the last four buys. And it comes down to not being able to score the ball. Rutgers can't score the ball right now, and they're not winning games. So Rutgers needs to, at least win one game in the Big Ten tournament, just so they're not sweating too much come Selection Sunday.
Figure stuff out there in New Jersey, and we'll see how it comes out for them. In the last four in, we see the Penn State Nittany Lions, Zach.
They had a incredible come from behind win against Maryland, down 10 with 5 minutes to go. They had a couple crazy wins this week, actually. Heck of a job by Penn State, and now they're the last team in. I really am rooting for Penn State. They haven't been to a tournament in quite some time, and they rarely make the tournament. So I really would like to see Penn State find their way in.
Penn State's a team that we will talk about later on this show. A little teaser for you. Mm-hmm. Maybe there's something coming for the Nittany Lions. In the first four out, we see the Utah State Aggies, Zach. That's a team in the Mountain West that you were talking about and that you kind of like.
Yeah, I do. And the reason I'm really excited for this Utah State team is they have a huge opportunity coming up. Well, they got to beat probably New Mexico first in their first round of the Mountain West tournament, but that's going to set up a match against Boise State for them. And what could act as kind of a play-in game for the tournament, or maybe both of them can get in if Utah State wins. So Utah State's got a big opportunity there. They just picked up their first quad one win of the season. I'm definitely excited to see what they do.
And then on the flip side, we got Vandy. Vandy's on the next four out, and Vandy's a team, if you watch our SEC tournament preview video, that they got some pressure coming into this tournament.
They do. They were, like everybody's been saying, how just a couple weeks ago, Vandy was dead. No one was talking Vandy. They've rattled off, I think, 3-4 wins in a row now. They're playing the best basketball of the season. They got to do some damage in this SEC tournament, but they're definitely a team to look out for.
Keep an eye on Vandy. Something special could be brewing in Nashville about maybe they get a late run and get a spot in the tournament. But as we get into our bracket, we got the number one overall seed right now as the Kansas Jayhawks in a bit of an awkward situation. I wonder if you put this bracket out today. I wonder if Lenardi has Houston at the number one overall seed.
I don't think they have enough quad one wins.
You don't think so?
Yeah, I think the quad one wins is carrying Kansas right now.
But we'll see. But right now we got Kansas as number one overall in the Midwest region, taking on the winner of SEMO versus Fairleigh Dickinson University. Those are two teams that have already clinched.
They have, and we've gotten to see both of them so far. Both solid squads in their respective conferences. Props to both of them. But Kansas is gonna probably beat them by a good margin.
KU picks up a win there. We got Mizzou taking on Memphis in this matchup, and Zach, Tigers looked good yesterday in a losing effort.
They looked really good yesterday. Kendrick Davis was impressive. DeAndre Williams looked good. Memphis just overall looked really good yesterday. They came up just short. It took a Jamal Shed, maybe a slight Jamal Shed push off.
Yeah.
But still a great shot by Jamal Shed. But props to Memphis though. And we really like this Memphis team. We think
I walked away impressed with Memphis yesterday. I walked away thinking this team could do some damage in March. We'll talk about it as it gets back and as we circle our way back to the top. But Memphis is a team to watch, especially if they're in that 8-9 game. 5-12, we got Miami taking on Drake. The Fighting Champagne Poppies, Zach. Who do you like?
I really, this reminds me, it's super similar to last year between if you guys remember, the 12-5 matchup between Richmond and Iowa. And the reason why it reminds me so much of that is Richmond was a super old, experienced team. I think 4 of their 5 guys were graduate seniors last year. They were super old. And Drake is the same way. Drake's starting lineup is older than 5 NBA teams. So that shows you the age on this Drake team. These guys have been around the block. They've been together now for a long time. And the reason that Miami kind of reminds me of Iowa, not necessarily in terms of play style, but Iowa last year, they went on a run. They win the Big Ten tournament. They get that 5 seed. Miami, I think, is in a similar position to probably win the ACC tournament again. Maybe that moves them off the 5 line. We'd have to see. But I think a lot of people are going to maybe Miami could be trendy in March, but Drake, an old veteran team, could be poised to knock them off. And that's why I kind of like Drake to be able to pull off that 12-5, similar to last year.
I'm a big Drake fan. You never have to talk me into picking Drake. Indiana taking on Hofstra and the Hoosiers. Or do you like?
I like the Hoosiers here. The Hoosiers have been really impressing me lately. I for a while now, I kind of thought, oh, Hoosiers are going to fall off, but at this point, they're having such a good season overall. Hofstra could keep it close in this game, but I do like the Hoosiers.
San Diego State taking on the winner of Mississippi State and Penn State, and we just talked about Penn State. Maybe a little something brewing there in Happy Valley.
We think so. I mean, they're led by Jalen Pickett, one of the best guards in the country. He was on the finalist list, right, for the Wooden Award.
Yeah,
that's impressive. He put up 41 against my Illini earlier in the year. He's a guy I look for him to win them that game against Mississippi State. And he has a good supporting cast around him. Seth Lundy, Andrew Funk. He's got some guys around him that can really play. I think this is a classic 11/6 upset here.
Give him the numbers, Zach. A play-in team always.
Yeah, that's true. In the 11 tournaments since there's been a play-in game, in 10 of the 11 tournaments, a play-in team always advances past the first round.
Something to watch. Something of interest. In Penn State, we feel is going to be that team this year. Marquette taking on Colgate. And do you like Colgate to maybe get this done, or do you Marquette gets it?
I think Marquette. Colgate's been in this situation a few different times these last few years because Colgate, they're in their championship tournament final either today or tomorrow. I can't remember, but they probably are going to win it, and they're probably going to get in again. But I like this Marquette team. They're led by one of the best point guards in the nation, Kolek. I think they should be a team that I don't think will get upset.
Northwestern taking on the Fighting Trojans out of USC. USC is a team you repped in our Mountain West video, Zach.
The Pac-12 video?
You're Pac-12, yeah.
Yeah. You know what? Big Ten has not had a lot of success in the tournament. I'd like to see Northwestern have success, but I think I'm going to go with the 10/7 here with the Trojans.
Yeah.
They're playing better basketball of late. They pick up that Arizona State win. Arizona State's got Boogie Ellis at the point guard. He's good. Drew Peterson, Giraffe Neck Peterson. He's a good player. So let's go with USC.
SC gets a win, and they're going to take on Arizona versus, as we mentioned, a little shake up in the Big Sky. Number 1 seed done in the first round already, Zach. We got Montana State coming out of the Big Sky right now. Who do you like?
I like Arizona.
Yeah.
I like Arizona. It's an elite front court for Arizona. I don't think Montana State would have the bodies to be able to match up against Arizona size. So
now we got a Pac-12 showdown with Arizona taking on USC. Who do you like?
And we saw this matchup just a few days ago, and I think it would go similarly. Tubelis took over that game against USC. He looked great, put up, I think, 25 and 10 that game. Look for Tubelis to do the same again against USC in that one.
Penn State taking on Marquette in this matchup as Penn State advances to the second round. Do they dance all the way to 16?
Ooh, I almost want to say yes, but I think Penn State keeps it close. I really do, but I think Marquette dogs one out.
Yeah.
You like that? I think
that.
Marquette's a talented squad. They keep on rolling.
They grind it out. Speaking of dogs, we got a bunch of dogs here with the Drake Bulldogs taking on Indiana. And who do you like?
Oh, man, this is tough because Drake, I don't know who necessarily is going to guard Trace Jackson Davis, but even still, I think Drake can beat Indiana in a game like this. The experience of Drake, we know how important experienced guards are in March. There's no one more experienced than Drake's guards. Let's go with Drake here.
Drake,
a little Cinderella.
But Kansas taking on Memphis. And this is a matchup. I love Memphis. I really like them. I think they're a good team. Sorry, guys. I like this team. I like this matchup, but there's some concern. There is still some concern. And in this matchup, KU's their experience. They're a good team. as much as I love Memphis, they haven't been able to get over the hump with Houston twice now.
Yeah, and that's a similar. You're right. That's a similar team. And Kendrick Davis, Memphis' star. I don't know if he'd be able to, put up a 30-piece when you got DeJuan Harris guarding him, who's one of the best defensive point guards in the nation. I think DeJuan Harris could at least, you're not going to be able to completely stop Kendrick Davis. He's too much of a talent, but I think he could limit him. And we do like Memphis. It's just not a huge fan of this matchup for Memphis.
Kansas gets it and shut, and they set up. Guess what, Zach? Something we saw in another video. The Joseph Yesufu's title classic here. In the Sweet 16, we got Drake taking on Kansas. And for Joseph Yesufu, is it new girl or the old girl getting this win?
Oh, this is new girl getting it done.
Yeah.
I think Drake's the Cinderella run would end here for Drake. There's just be a little too much weapons for Jake to overcome.
For sure. And now we got Marquette taking on Arizona in the bottom of this bracket in a 2-3 matchup. And I kind of lean a little Arizona. What do you lean?
I was going to lean Marquette. I think Arizona is tougher for me to trust.
Yeah.
They've lost to more teams that I look at as, more teams outside of the tournament than Marquette has lost to. I have a little more faith in Marquette, but
it's a good argument.
Arizona, it just, when I see, 4 of their 5 losses are to teams outside of the tournament, I'm a little bit scared of that. So I would lean Marquette here, but
no, we can go Marquette for sure.
It would be a good game.
It'd be a great game.
That goes without saying.
I think this is your marquee game in the Sweet 16. I think would be Marquette versus Arizona. I think it's a dogfight. I think it's a game people want to see, and I'd love to see it personally.
I would.
The fans in Kansas City would be entertained by this matchup, and so we'll set up Marquette versus Kansas in Kansas City. Can Marquette go into this hostile environment that will be all KU? It's Fog Allen Fieldhouse in a larger environment.
Yeah. I think it would be a little too much to overcome for Marquette in this one. It's a close game in terms of talent because there's a ton of talent on this Marquette team. But I think Kansas can get it done against Marquette. It would be close. You're right. I think the home court advantage is a big impact in this type of game because Marquette is not going to have, nearly as many fans because they're going to have to travel. And Kansas fans are only a half hour away. So yeah, I'm gonna go with Kansas here.
Rock Chalk advances to the Final Four right now. It's becoming a little bit of a theme in our videos, Zach.
It has been.
But that's high. We're high on KU this year. They remind us a lot of last year's team.
A lot of similarities to last year's team.
So let's see how it goes. We got UCLA taking on the winner of Texas A&M Corpus Christi, and
it's just
Corpus Christi. All right, we got Corpus Christi in this matchup. Corpus Christi gets a win? UCLA. Yeah. UCLA picks up a dub here as a 1 seed, Zach. They jump in here after the Purdue loss.
Well, Purdue won, but they haven't been looking as good lately. Yeah. And I think UCLA picking up that big win against Arizona, if they leapfrog Purdue.
Providence taking on Boise State. And who do you like?
Providence hasn't been looking as good lately, that's for sure. I like Boise State. They're 13th in Ken Palm defensive efficiency. They can really defend. They really defend well. I like Boise State to get by here. And Max Rice is a guy to look out for in the tournament. He's a guy that's capable of scoring 30 for Boise State. He gets really hot from 3 sometimes.
5-12 matchup. We got TCU and the Horned Frogs taking on the Fighting Rick Pitino's at Iona. Who do you like?
I like TCU still.
Yeah.
I do. I think Iona can make it interesting because Rick Pitino, he's a legendary coach, he's a Hall of Fame coach. He would probably, game plan his way into making this a close game, but I think I like TCU. We're huge fans of Mike Miles here. He's one of the best point guards in the country. Shout
out Cade Lowe with that pickup. Our buddy Cade, he's a big TCU guy. So he watches every video. We know he'll appreciate that one. We got Xavier taking on Utah Valley and the Wolverines, Zach.
You know what? I
like it.
It's hard. Most of the time we're gonna pick Xavier. You guys have seen. You guys know our Xavier love here. It's there. But Utah Valley is actually legit right now. They're playing good. Xavier has shown at times that they could be susceptible to get upset. They lose to DePaul earlier in the year. Xavier isn't. They're definitely not elite defensively. It could happen.
Let me tell you something. Why we're picking Utah Valley today. because there's something special in Provo today. The BYU Cougars are going to go beat Marquette or beat St. Mary's tonight, and then they're going to beat Gonzaga tomorrow. They're going to be on. They're going to get an AQ from the
West Coast.
West Coast. The last season in the West Coast, they're going to say, "Hey guys, what's up? See ya." After claiming the title.
Well, and then their buddies 10 minutes away from
Yeah,
here,
exactly.
Utah Valley. They're gonna get it done.
They're gonna get it done. It's gonna be a big party in Provo, Utah. No, I don't know about the BYU part about that, but Utah Valley legitimately could. They got a good squad.
They got a good squad, and especially after losing AMAC to Texas Tech, no one expected Utah Valley to do this. So this has been quite the season for Utah Valley.
We got Michigan State taking on Auburn in this matchup, and this is a matchup of teams we had losing in our conference tournament videos, but their teams were high on still.
Yeah, we really big fans of Tyson Walker. Me and Will are. We love Tyson Walker. He's tremendous. And Hogard's also fun to watch for Michigan State. If he could develop an outside shot, Hogard would be he'd be terrific. But he doesn't have an outside shot. That limits him. But even still, I think you can trust in Michigan State more right now than you can trust in Auburn. Even though Auburn's looking a lot better.
We're not going to spoil it. We want people to go check out our SEC video, but go check it out. Zach gives you a reason why you can believe in Auburn this year compared to last year. But
we like it. And also we all know how Tom Izzo, he has so much success in March. We all know about that, at least getting far into March. So let's go with Sparty.
Sparty gets a win here. We got Gonzaga taking on Furman in this matchup. And you know what, Zach? The Zags are going to be grumpy after losing to BYU tomorrow. They're going to come in here.
They're going to be sad boys.
They're going to be sad boys, ready to win.
Upset?
No.
Oh,
they're going to come out to win. No.
I want it. Furman actually could keep this game close, without a doubt. Furman plays in their conference championship game. I think it's tonight or is it tomorrow? It's one of those. I keep mixing which conference tournaments are tonight and tomorrow. But I think Furman might play in their championship tonight, and they are 26-7, I think, this year. Furman is pretty good. Does it look like it's tomorrow, Will?
I think it's tomorrow. It looks like Furman's got tomorrow.
Okay.
A title game against. Let me find this one.
Yeah. So for Furman, they're good. They're actually good. Though they could keep this close. This would be a very interesting 14-3 game. I'd be excited to see it.
It'd be one that you'd want to see. And I think a lot of people are going to be paying attention to Gonzaga this year just because of it's always Gonzaga. It's always a question, can they get over the hump? It's always a debate. When March, there's a few storylines that are always going to be there, and it's always going to be there for Gonzaga.
Yep.
Let's see what happens this year. They could be underrated this year. You could say. We'll see. Texas A&M taking on NC State. NC State finds themselves as bubble boys right now, Zach.
They do. If NC State loses their first round game in the ACC tournament, they could be nervous come Selection Sunday because we like this NC State team, but they don't have a ton of marquee wins this year. So NC State, you got to get it done in the tournament. But as far as this matchup goes, these are two teams we really like.
Yeah.
Two teams that have some guards we really like. Wade Taylor, the fourth, Texas A&M, Tyrese Radford as well. They're really good guards. I mean, we've talked about Jarkel Joyner, Terquavion Smith over here for NC State, Casey Marcel as well. I'm going to go with A&M just from the fact that they've been playing so good this last half of the year, but I wouldn't be surprised at all if NC State wins.
Coming off a win over Alabama on Saturday.
That was a really impressive win.
Yeah.
A win where they had the blueprint, so they knew what they wanted to do. It was a really well-coached game.
Mighty Kennesaw State taking on Baylor. And
that was a fun conference championship game. Shout out one of our viewers. He goes to Kennesaw State. So
shout out to him.
Shout out to him. I'm proud. I'm glad they won. That was a fun game to watch. Wild finish. That was smart by Burton or whatever his last name is to go to the basket and draw a foul. Not enough guys do that at the end of the game.
You know what? I'm proud of them. We're going to send Kennesaw State here. No, we're not. As much as it would be interesting to see, as little faith as I do have in Baylor at times, I think Baylor gets this one.
I think Baylor gets it. But hey, you never know. We've seen 15-2s a lot recently.
I think if we're going to see one, why not this year? How chaotic it's been this year. How just absolutely it's going to be one of the most insane March Madnesses you're going to find in a long time. There's no way you're getting a perfect bracket this year because of how just muddy everything
Yeah,
is.
there's no dominant teams. The middle of the pack, they all look so similar. You're right. There's no way no one's ever getting one.
Yeah.
But there's been years like 2019 where maybe it could have happened, but this is not one of those years. I like that point.
Texas A&M taking on Baylor in this matchup, and I just talked about my little faith in Baylor, Zach.
Give me A&M right now.
Yeah,
that's what I said. Give me A&M right now. Will's a little bit lower on Baylor than I am, but A&M, I mean, I really like their guards. I like the way they draw fouls. That's important in March. They can get Baylor into foul trouble. Wade Taylor draws the most free throws out of anybody in the SEC, one of the most of anyone in the whole country. So yeah, give us A&M.
Gonzaga taking on Michigan State in this matchup, a matchup we saw earlier this year, but don't take too much away from that game. That game was played on a boat. So this one played indoors. Who do you like?
Give me Michigan State, honestly.
Yeah.
And the reason is I'm really liking Michigan State's guard play, especially down the stretch. Any game I watch, I see Tyson Walker, I see AJ Hoggard make good decisions with the ball. They come up clutch when they need them to. We know what Tom Izzo does in March. And I really would like to see that rematch again. Because like you said, that was played on an aircraft carrier or whatever that was. So I want to see this one again. And I think Michigan State can come out on top.
TCU taking on Utah Valley in a matchup, and one of these teams is going dancing into the Sweet 16. Zach, who is it?
It'll be TCU, but man, it'll be a storyline if Utah Valley can pull it off.
It'd be fun.
It would be fun.
But TCU's got a good team. Mike Miles could be a very talked about player after March.
Yes, he's the type of guy that he could become a legend, if he can put together a certain type of run with TCU this year.
And he'll start getting some names circulating around the NBA after this too. He almost left last year. You can guarantee he's probably going to leave after this year.
Yeah, almost a guarantee. So we can enjoy him while we have him. This one last year.
UCLA taking on Boise State in this West Coast battle here. Who do you like?
UCLA might be without Jalen Clark. Even still, I think UCLA is going to do just enough in what this would be a defensive showdown. If you see UCLA, their games always stay in the 60s. Boise State, similar fashion. Both teams like to play good defense and like to play slow. However, UCLA, I think, would get it done. Hawkes and Campbell will be able to carry enough weight to deal with the loss of Clark.
UCLA taking on TCU, and we just mentioned no Jalen Clark. I was listening to a podcast today. Now, I don't know how much I believe the podcast necessarily, but they're talking it might be a torn Achilles for Jalen Clark.
Oh, man.
That really is the case.
That's the case, then. Yeah, we're definitely not seeing Jalen Clark again.
Yeah.
Oh, man. If without Jalen Clark, he's such a good defensive player. He is so good defensively. He gets to the basket really well. He gives UCLA a third option. And we talk about a lot how you need a third option a lot of times in March.
Yeah.
Anytime you take away, if you don't have three options, it's a little more concerning. I think because of that, give me TCU here. With Jalen Clark, it makes us think a little more.
It's the certainty here of even if it isn't a torn Achilles. Again, I was listening to part of my take. So it's big. It was Big Cat and PFT talking in that. So you don't know necessarily. They very easily could have been joking, but it could have been. They had a serious tone to them with it as well. So I don't know, but the mystery of Jalen Clark. If you don't have that defender, you're gonna mark Mike Miles in that situation.
Yeah, you're gonna have UCLA depends on him to shut down usually the best perimeter player. So yeah, it's not the same team without Jalen Clark.
Michigan State taking on Texas A&M University in this matchup. We got a 7 versus a 6 for a spot in the Elite Eight.
Man, I like the guards we're gonna see in this matchup. I really do. These are tough guards. Tough guards. This one's tough. I'm gonna go with Michigan State.
Yeah, Sparty.
I'm gonna go with Sparty. Reason being, Michigan State and Tom Izzo, they've been there. They've done this many times, and I'm gonna go with old reliable, and that's Tom Izzo in these situations.
So we got TCU taking on Michigan State. Michigan State, a team. If you go check out our Big Ten video. Pause here for spoilers. Okay, they're a team we have losing in their first game in the Big Ten tournament, but they turn it around here and they make it to the Elite Eight. Do they make it all the way to the Final Four?
You know what? In this one, I want a little bit of madness. Let's go Michigan State to the Final Four.
Yeah,
because I mean, this is they could definitely do this. They're capable of it. they're going to need a lot out of Hauser down the stretch too. He's a good guy. They're going to need a lot of. That's actually their leading scorer is Hauser. So we're going to need some big games out of Hauser as well. And we got Sparty all the way in the Final Four. From Big Ten first loss to the Final Four. But sometimes a loss can be that correction that you need and honestly can help down the stretch.
Sparty saw last year's Final Four and said, "Hey, you're missing me. I'm feeling left out," and they wanted in on the fun. So we get another, not blue blood because they're green, but that traditional powerhouse of college basketball. Mm-hmm. We got two traditional college basketball powerhouses. Let's see what happens over here in this region as we got Houston, the number 1 overall seed, taking on the winner of Alcorn State and Howard.
Yeah, give me Houston for sure.
Yeah.
Houston's looking good. Even, they get another gritty win at Memphis like we talked about. I still like them.
Illinois taking on Arkansas. And let's give it the Illinois just so you have to talk about Houston versus Illinois.
Oh, that's fair. That's fair. Yeah, give it Illinois.
Zach has some things to say about that matchup if it actually happens.
Yeah, hate it. But
St. Mary's taking on Oral Roberts in a 5-12 matchup. And we talked about Sad Boys, okay? St. Mary's is losing tonight to BYU.
They are going to lose tonight to BYU. Book it. That's here right here. And then they're gonna be super sad and they're gonna lose again.
Lose again to Oral Roberts. They got a great player with Mahaney. Mahaney is a great ball player. Is he entering the draft, you think?
I don't think he'll enter the draft. He'll be a guy I think that will play in the NBA one day. Yeah. I think he's going to come back though, at least for another year, maybe 2 more years, hopefully, because he is so much fun to watch.
Yeah.
He can take over games. And Mahaney's one of those guys. If St. Mary's can go on a run, Mahaney would be probably the biggest reason why he could go down as a legend in March as well.
He could get some talk for sure. But let's send Oral Roberts in this matchup. We got UConn taking on Yale and battle of the dogs here. We got the Bulldogs and the Huskies.
We do.
What do you like?
Give us Huskies. Huskies are looking good right now. They're looking really good right now. There's a lot to like about the Huskies. There's a lot of good players on this team. Don't know too much about Yale. It really could don't know much about them, but still give us UConn.
Dukies taking on Rutgers. I like Dukies.
I like Duke right now way more than I like the Rutgers right now. Rutgers looks trash right now, if I'll be honest.
Tennessee taking on Louisiana Lafayette. This is a game tonight, is it not?
Louisiana does play.
Louisiana plays tonight against Southern Alabama.
Correct.
Shout out Drew.
That's true. Drew, if you're watching, we're rooting for you. We're rooting for the South Alabama Jaguars tonight. Hoping they can get it done, because I think maybe I think either one of South Alabama or Louisiana could pull off an upset in March. But I almost want to have a little madness here in a 14-3. We talked about how there could be a big upset. We haven't pulled the trigger on one big upset. Give us Louisiana over Tennessee.
Book it. It's booked. Louisiana. Lafayette beats Tennessee in this matchup. But why can it happen, Zach?
I think it really just comes down to Tennessee doesn't have a guy, a go-to guy when you have those little 3-4 minute passes where you can't score, and you'll have a guy you go to. That's where the best teams have. They have a guy they can go to get him a shot. For TCU, that's Mike Miles. For Duke, that's Jeremy Roach. For Illinois, that's Terrence Shannon or Matthew Meyer. So you have that type of guy. They don't have that guy, especially Zakai Ziegler would take a lot of the tough shots at the end of the shot clock. And they're not going to have that now. And they just seem like they're prone to an upset at this point.
Got the Hawkeyes taking on Pittsburgh down here. And I kind of like the Hawkeyes. Last year, there's a lot of talk about them. This year, there's not as much talk about them, really, at all.
Yeah. No, it's been quieter because even though they have, now they have the Murray brother, Keegan Murray was getting even more talk.
Yeah.
And Chris Murray's having a similarly almost as good of a season, not quite. And but they're not getting as much talk as much. So I'm with you. I can get Iowa. Iowa could easily put up 55 and get beat by 20 in this game.
Yeah.
Or they could win this game by 20 or 30 and they're looking amazing. Yeah. They're so polarizing, but I'm with you. I think there's more potential out of Iowa.
Iowa advances now. They're going to face probably Texas here, or do you see Youngstown State in this one?
I like Texas, but Youngstown State could they're good. The Youngstown State's actually one of the better mid-majors.
We got Texas taking on Iowa in this matchup, and I like the Horns, Zach.
I like the Horns too. I do. I think they just need to be able to limit. Don't let Chris Murray have a crazy game, and they should be fine.
Duke taking on the Raging Cajuns. The Raging Cajuns of Louisiana Lafayette. Did the Dukies get this one?
Yeah, Duke's gonna get this one.
Duke picks it up. We got Oral Roberts taking on the Huskies. I like the Huskies.
I like the Huskies too. I think Oral Roberts won't have anybody. Well, I was gonna say something, but I don't know. Oral Roberts does have a 7'5" center. Connor Vanover, transfer from Arkansas. He could limit Sonogo. Just remember that would be a good one. That'd be a good one.
Something to watch. Keep an eye out for it. Houston taking on Illinois here in the 1 versus 8 matchup. And Zach, tell us why Houston will win this matchup over Illinois.
There's a few reasons why. They're generally tougher, just a tougher squad in terms of their mentality, I feel like. But man, the way Houston offensive rebounds gives me worries. Houston, they're just it's just not the right matchup for Illinois. I knew from the second the game jumped last year, Illinois was getting beat to Houston in the tourney in this exact spot. Well, no, yeah, in this second round matchup. And I think it would happen again because this year that was without Sasser and that's without Tremont Mark, and we got beat like that. Now this is a better Houston team even than last year. Give me Houston, sadly.
It's sad times here in Idaho as Zach Bauman will be crying. But it sets up UConn versus Houston in a great Sweet 16 matchup.
Fantastic Sweet 16 matchup. Really good Sweet 16 matchup. I know I'm going to be leaning Houston. Will's going to be leaning UConn.
Yeah.
I knew there's no doubt here. I'll let you decide this one for us, Will. And I'm okay with either. They're both tough.
Am all right saying Houston for the standpoint of yesterday. They got that win at Memphis, which to me showed a little bit.
Especially because that was a heck of a crowd.
It was a tough environment. It was a tough place to go play. I'm all right leaning with Houston here. I want to know I don't know. Let's find what region. Before I say that, actually, what region is this?
That would be
the East. Okay, so that's in New York.
Oh,
that changes things.
Okay. That does change
things. Changes it a little. That's been a heavy UConn crowd.
Because we know New York City, a lot of New York City rides for UConn.
That's gonna be a heavy UConn crowd.
Yeah, give us UConn here. But man, this would be a great game. UConn would have definitely the crowd advantage in this one.
The amazing thing about bracketology, things flip mid picks, guys.
Exactly,
it's crazy. Duke taking on Texas down low in this matchup, and both teams are going to travel. So you don't even have to worry about a home court advantage here. What do you like?
Let's go Texas. I know you like Texas, and Texas has really put together a full season of work here. Even though Duke's figured it out, I hate to admit it, Duke's figured it out. They're looking better. But let's go Texas.
And now we got Texas versus UConn, and you like UConn in this matchup, or do you like?
I would probably pick UConn in this one.
This is gonna be a tough place for Texas to go play. Oh, it's gonna be so tough. If UConn makes it in the East,
UConn in the East is such an advantage.
It is such an advantage for them. That's huge. And if this isn't in the East, I'd probably lean Texas. I'd probably still do kind of lean Texas, but I think it's gonna be really hard for them in the East.
Yes.
And to go into Madison Square Garden and go beat UConn, I'm all right sending UConn in this game.
All right, let's do it. I agree. It's a good game without a doubt. Let's go UConn.
UConn picks up a win here, and let's go up to the top. And Alabama is our other number one, taking on UNC Asheville. Alabama gets this win.
Yep.
8-9. We got Maryland taking on Florida Atlantic. Florida Atlantic is a 9, Zach.
They're talented. They haven't lost now in a while. 28-3. They're, believe it or not, they're 15th in the net.
Yeah.
The metrics really like them still. I've yet to see. I've only seen like 8 minutes of Florida Atlantic all year, which is a shame. I'm gonna change that this week. I'm planning on watching some of them because I want to watch them more. But I think we got to ride Maryland here after the Big Ten tournament happened. Jameer Young, though, we talk about experienced guards. You need experienced guards in March. He gives you that for Maryland.
To me, Florida Atlantic's reached the point right now of they're too good right now in a standpoint of they climb too high. They need to drop. They want to drop a little bit. They don't want to sit in that 9.
You're saying so they can face like a 7
or a 6 seed in the second round. You don't want to have to face the 1 in the second. It gets they're a team that could make a run to a Sweet 16, but it's just such a weird spot for them.
I get what you're saying. Yeah, the 8-9 can be tricky sometimes.
Iowa State taking on VCU in this matchup, and we've been liking the 12s today, Zach.
We have been. How many 12s have we had win?
We got Drake. We got TCU won that one.
And then we got Oral Roberts.
Roberts. We got 2 12s right now.
Okay. Since we have 2 12s, give me Iowa State.
Yeah.
They just, they looked really good against Baylor over the weekend. Maybe we all know they went through that slump. I think this is a good game versus VCU. I think it's a low scoring game because they both defend very well. Give me Iowa State in a close one. And maybe they have the locker room hopefully figured out now. They got Caleb Grills off the team now. I'm not sure. He had mental health issues or something. We don't know the specifics, but maybe the locker, they're going to come together. Give me Iowa State.
Virginia taking on Toledo in this matchup. And do you see Toledo getting it, or do you see Virginia pulling out a win here?
Let's go Virginia in a close one.
Yeah.
In a close one. Virginia has experienced guards as well. Okay. And I like that about Virginia. Kihei Clark. He's been there for 17 years now, 5th year senior. He was a part of that national championship team from 4 years ago. But give me Virginia.
Creighton taking on the winner of Nevada and Wisconsin. Wisconsin's a team we have going far in our Big Ten tournament preview video. I like Creighton.
Creighton is a heck of a tough 6 seed. I'll just say that.
Got the number one. They got did Cockbrenner win the Big East player today, or was it?
I saw he was a part of the team, or he's on the first team, all Big East team, which is good.
I thought I might have saw Rossine tweet that out. I might have been wrong. Kansas State taking on UC Irvine in this matchup, and K-State.
Yeah, give us K-State. Keontae Johnson he could be an absolute menace in March.
Tough night for the Anteaters. Kentucky taking on West Virginia in this matchup.
That's a bit of a rival. That's an Appalachian rivalry.
It's a close geographical situation there. Mm-hmm. Is it not? I'm not from America right away, so I didn't know that off the top of my head. But
there's a rivalry here, but for sure, because it's that Appalachian mountain rivalry right there. That's a fun matchup. It really is. I like Kentucky in that matchup, and it's a Sheboy matchup too, because Sheboy transferred from West Virginia to Kentucky. So I like Kentucky to get it done.
We got the Joseph Yesufu Cup over in the Midwest, and out here we got the Oscar Sheboy Cup going on.
Let's go.
Purdue taking on Vermont and Boilermakers.
Boilermakers
taking on Kentucky. Ooh.
This was tough.
I think we picked Purdue last time this matchup happened. Just saying.
Then let's go Kentucky because it's that 50-50 between these two squads.
Yeah.
It's that close. Purdue's guards are giving me less and less reason to believe, especially we've been to this video, we're talking a lot about how you need experienced guards in March, and Purdue doesn't have that, at least within their starting backcourt. Give us Kentucky.
Creighton taking on Kansas State in this matchup, and it's a good game.
It's a game. We've seen this one a couple times.
I like this game.
I do too.
I like
Creighton.
Yeah.
I like Creighton.
Okay.
And the reason I think I like Creighton is Mark, because, a couple reasons. I like Nembhard. I like Nembhard controlling the pace of this game. And Trey Alexander's been lighting it up lately from deep. But I'm a little concerned with Kansas State just from the fact that these guys really haven't been in this situation, and like most of these guys in their career. Creighton's coming off of that last year's run with a lot of guys that have experience in March, so I like Creighton.
Iowa State taking on Virginia in this matchup, guys, and Cavaliers, they play close games.
They do.
Iowa State can win those games. Who do you like?
This one is so tough for me because I look at these teams so similarly and how they play. But give me Virginia because
minus Caleb Grill.
Yeah, Caleb Grill did really help them space the floor. He's like a 38% 3-point shooter this year. Yeah, give me Virginia in this one. I feel like I haven't shown enough love to Virginia.
Alabama taking on Maryland in this matchup in a 1 versus 8 matchup. I see a smile on your face, Zach. Are you gonna pull the trigger right here?
I do want to pull the trigger really badly. If you'll let me pull the trigger,
I'll let you pull the trigger.
Because Bama just hasn't looked as good recently. Maryland, I'm a fan of, even though they've dropped 2 in a row. I still like Maryland overall. Let's do it.
Maryland advances over Alabama, and we got Maryland taking on Virginia in this Sweet 16 matchup. A matchup of East Coast teams.
It is.
Who do you like?
Give me Virginia. Give me Virginia because
Virginia?
Virginia has one of my favorite coaches in all of college basketball.
You love Tony Bennett.
I love Tony Bennett. I love Virginia. That's the funny thing. I don't really talk about how much I really do love Virginia.
Yeah.
I even told Willer, and I'm like, I picked Virginia in my Final Four before the season even started, just between me and him.
Yeah.
I like Virginia. I do get concerned with them sometimes just because of the way they play, but give me Virginia in that one.
Virginia gets a win, and they advance to the Elite Eight, and we got Creighton taking on Kentucky. And this is the South, correct?
This is South.
So it's going to be in Louisville.
That's right. That's right. This would be in Louisville. Oh, man.
Not that, because to be fair, Kentucky's going to travel wherever they go.
Yeah, they would. They would, but they really traveled
to Louisville. Kentucky?
Yeah,
we've been going with this theme of home teams being tough to play against in the Sweet 16 and Elite Eight. I think we got to stick with the theme.
Let's stick with the theme. And because in talent wise, they're pretty similar talent wise. I'd maybe lean a little bit to Creighton, but with that home court advantage, like you were talking about,
yeah.
And it follows the theme. Let's go Kentucky.
And we got the theme here. We got Virginia versus Kentucky in this matchup. Do we buck the trend right here, or what do you see?
Let's buck the trend because Kentucky's lost at Rupp Arena twice this year now.
Yeah.
So maybe it's not as much of an advantage for this team. Let's go Virginia
Cavaliers.
We're setting up a little East Coast matchup.
We got, again, some schools that have some history. We don't have any shocking brands in here. We got the Kansas brand, we got the Michigan State brand, we got the Virginia brand, and we got the UConn brand. All of these schools have a national title under their belts in the last 20 years.
23. Michigan State won 2000, but the rest of these teams have all won within the last decade.
Who do you like?
Give me UConn. I think UConn's got a lot more weapons. I'll just straight off the bat, they got more weapons than Virginia's got. Yeah. Virginia's chance to win this game would come down to they need to not let Jordan Hawkins get hot from the outside. They just need to play their brand of basketball and hope UConn misses shots. And that's what it comes down to.
Kansas taking on Michigan State in this matchup of classic coaches, classic brands. When was this? Was this last year State Farm, or is this the upcoming year State Farm?
I think it's the upcoming year.
Yeah, so next year they're going to play in the State Farm Classic. Who do you like?
I would definitely lean Kansas here. Yeah, give me Kansas. I think this could be one of those blowout Final Four games, to be honest. We
got KU taking on UConn in this matchup. This is a matchup. I think we had this as our championship on Friday.
Did we?
Yeah. I like UConn. I think we took Kansas last time.
Okay. I like UConn too because we debated that one heavily.
Yeah.
Sonogo would probably put up a big game. UConn's got a lot of bigs. Be tough.
Give me a score, Zach.
Let's go 77. 72.
77-72. The UConn Huskies are cutting it down in Houston en route to celebrating another national championship.
Be number 5 for them.
For this quietly historic school, man. They're a smaller school necessarily, but they get it done in college basketball.
They do.
The Fighting Dan Hurleys are your national champions.
He probably picks up 6 techs along the way.
Oh, I guarantee. He might not even still be in the game in the national championship.
Probably not. He's probably already got 3 techs in the first half.
He's sitting in the locker room. But guys, that's what we're looking at right now. We're in March. We're in the crunch right now. We're in the home stretch. Sunday, we get our bracketology. We're going to get our bracket, guys. Check with us on Sunday. We're still figuring out some plans. We're talking through some stuff of how Sunday exactly is going to work for us. So stick with Z-Dub Sports Nation, and we're going to get it for you guys. We're going to put our Twitter handle in the captions as well, guys. Check with us there. You'll find out more information on upcoming stuff from Z-Dub Sports Nation.
Yeah, and we're gonna have another bracket group on ESPN Tournament Challenge. So we'll probably make a little post on that, and we'll link that too as well. So because we would like to see as many of you guys join that bracket group as possible.
Interact with us, guys. Comment on this video. Let us know what you're seeing, what you're liking, what you're not liking. Let us know everything going on. Subscribe, join the wagon, guys. We're ready to go. The trains are rolling. Hop on. We'll see you guys later.
All right, see you guys.